That better be how this thing goes. Things better not be being a pain. But I don't have to hold this mic for it to work. But I'm going live so I can update you on everything. Because there's so much to update you on. And I have around an hour-ish before I gotta get my brother. So I'm gonna update y'all on everything with A that has happened. Because it's actually crazy. It's actually crazy. So I was hoping somebody would at least turn on while we did this, so I know if this mic is working. What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Okay. I'm just gonna hold the mic because I feel like it's gonna be so much easier. So, people are gonna be wondering what the heck I'm doing. That's not the point. So, a little update on everything with A. Hi. So, see, the last thing I told y'all was my live Friday morning before we went and hung out. So, we ended up hanging out for 6-ish hours Friday night. I don't think I got home from us hanging out till like 12:30 at night. We started hanging out like 4:30. But we ended up accidentally matching. So his tie was matching my dress. It was actually so much fun. It was adorable too. Let me take group pictures. As a group, we went out for some ice cream all together afterwards. I'm doing like a quick summarized version of this entire story because there's so much to it. What's up? But, so we went out for ice cream. And while we were out for ice cream, I was showing in this TikTok sound the Am I Single one because I referenced the sound and just randomly had said it in our conversation. And he was like, what? It was the Am I Single? Single-handedly screwing your mom. I'm joking. I don't know your mom like that, but boy, does she know me. That sound. Right? So I had to show him what I'm talking about because he didn't have TikTok, so he didn't know what I was talking about with it. And so I and hi. And so when we were hanging out, he was like, one of my friends was like, Iraland, add me into the group chat. Hi, guys. And he was like, what group chat? And I said, there's a text group chat that Joe made. I'm good. I'm actually amazing. How are y'all? And so he was like, Iraland, add me into it. And I was like, okay. So I'm trying to add him into it. And I was like, wait, I don't have your number. And I said, you can get Joe to add you in. And he goes, oh, that's not a problem. And so he just gives me his number right then and there, like types it in my phone for me. He's like, okay, now you can add me in. So I added him into the group chat and everything. And I sent our group pictures in there so that he had it and all. And then y'all can hear me, right? Like this mic is actually working. If not, I'm going to have to like turn off the mic, but I'm hoping it's working. But so we were hanging out and I opened a Red Bull and he's like, I thought we talked about this. You don't need a Red Bull. And I said, yes, I do. Yes, I do need Red Bull. We're going to turn around and walk this way again. And I was like, I do need a Red Bull. And he's like, no, you don't. And I said, yes, I do. He's like, have you at least had your water for the Red Bull? And I said, of course I have. And I had told him that I needed 6 bottles of water for her energy drink. I told him that like 2 weeks ago. Or it was the beginning of last week. He was like, so have you had your 6 bottles of water for it? I unfriended you on Roblox. I don't think I did. I didn't unfriend anybody. I may not have responded to your messages yet. I've been extremely busy, but back to story time. So we were so he was like, so you've had water for it? And I said, yes. He's like, but you still don't need it. And I said, yes, I do. He goes, no, you really don't. And I said, dude, yes, I do. He goes, you know what? Fine. I'm not going to argue with you for this. Like, good, because you're not going to win. Right? And so then we're doing like subtle little flirting with each other. And then and on the car ride back, I was with my friend Joe and thank you. I was with my friend Joe and look here, I think I'm just going to stand over here by the street because my back hurts. But I was with my friend Joe on the way back. And I was telling him that I liked A and everything. And he was like, oh my gosh, A is so sweet. Like, he's so nice, so funny. He was like, you should go for it. And I was like, but I don't know and everything. And he was just like, no, I can throw some hints at him, get him to ask you out. Do I have siblings? Yes, I do. I have 4 brothers. And so he was like, I can get him to ask you out. And I was like, you know what? Fine, whatever. He ended up asking me out. No, I asked him out. But that's not the point. We actually low-key still gotta finish playing again. But hi guys, hi. I'm not answering. What did you say? Do I want to be friends? Of course. Back to story. So we get back to the church and everything, and it's about 11:30 at night. And we're just standing there and we're talking. And we end up, anytime we are hanging out together, we end up standing next to each other or standing directly across from each other. And it's not even planned. Like, it just subconsciously happens and everything. Everything might be messed up now, but somebody was trying to call me. But back to the story. So we're hanging out and everything, and then anytime we hang out, he waits till I get back to my car before he gets in his car and everything, so he knows I make it to my car safely. But then, so we're hanging out. So then we leave because my mom was like, you need to get home because it was midnight. And I said, yes, ma'am. So I go home and everything. And then nothing happened Saturday. I'm giving y'all the very, very, like, shortened version of this entire situation because there's a lot to it. And so we're hanging out Sunday at church, and we're talking and everything. And we planned on sitting by each other during sacrament meeting, but somebody pulled him away, and he ended up sitting with them. He apologized to me after for it. He was like, no, I was going to come sit over there with you, and I was like, no, it's okay. And we talked a little more, and he was telling me how he has to teach the lesson in his group. I was like, you're going to let me know how that goes? He's like, I definitely will. And so we talked a little more, then we separated for our lesson. Then the third hour of church, we did what we call break the fast. So we all sat down and ate together. So he sat directly, he knew what general table I was at, but he didn't know, like, where I was sitting. He sat directly across from me. And so this was the most little bit of, like, flirting we've done. It was actually really fun. So they had these those plastic jumping spiders where you push on the back and it, like, jumps. And so we were doing those back and forth towards each other for a good 30 minutes straight, and then he stopped to actually eat some of his food instead of eating while doing the little jumping spiders. And I was like, hey, now you have all the spiders. So he picks them all up, and kind of just like play tosses them. And so he tosses them back, and I said, that's not how that goes. That's not fun. So he takes one of them back, and we start doing the little jumping spider at each other again for the rest of it. And then we're talking again after all that. So we ended up talking for quite a few hours. Sunday too. I think maybe 3-4 hours. And then yesterday I had Bible study. Sunday. No, Monday. My cousin was controlling my screen while we were on FaceTime. And she goes on there and she texts him. So then I started having a conversation with him and everything. And started texting. Short little conversation. Then my cousin accidentally calls him. And I was like, and it scared me because I was like, please tell me that didn't go through to his phone. No, it went through. Because then I texted him after, and I was like, hey, I don't know if that call went through or not, but I'm sorry, it was an accident, and I didn't mean to click it. And he had already gone to sleep by then. And so he responded yesterday morning, and he was like, no worries, I was wondering if that was the case. Right. Then we saw each other at church last night, hung out for 2-ish hours. And then he was teasing me again, like normal. But this time, when my OCD was going crazy. And so we were setting up the tables and chairs for the morning Bible study groups that go. So we were setting them up, and since my OCD was going crazy, I was trying to make sure all the chairs were like as straight and even and close to perfect as it could be. And so he goes, and he will move a little chair. I'm like, stop it. And so then he does that for a few minutes. And then one of my other friends, Aiden, joins in and does it with him. And I said, Aiden, if you move another chair, I'm going to smack the crap out of you. And so I didn't tell A that because, like, I'm not going to hit A. I'm not going to joke about hitting him either. And so then they both go and they move a chair. And they run out, they turn off the lights, and they leave me in the church by myself. So I use the flashlight on my phone, and I fix everything. And then I walk outside, and the second they see me step outside, they run to their cars. And I'm like, bruh. I said, you just left me in there by myself. Right, and so he was about to leave, but he waited till I got to my car, and got in my car, and then he left. Right. And I was going to ask him out yesterday. Like, that was my plan. Was while we were hanging out, I was going to ask him to go out for lunch. But then he had ran away, so I couldn't. And so then I was like, so then I texted him once I got home. I was like, I was going to ask you something at Institute, but you ran off before I could. And he goes, that's my bad. What's up? And I was like, I was wondering if you wanted to maybe go out for lunch this week. Or go out together for lunch this week. And he was like, yes, that would be a lot of fun. And then we started talking about it, and he was like, but I don't know how my work schedule is going to work because he doesn't have it like a set-in-stone work schedule. It's more of a when they need him, he goes kind of a thing. And he was like, but we can work something out. And I said, okay. And then I was on the phone with one of my friends, and she was like, we should just do it as a double date. So I asked him, I said, would you want to do it with a double date with Katie and she can find a guy and bring? He was like, he was like, low-key, it would be a lot of fun. So I was like, okay. So then we start planning it. He was like, what day do y'all have in mind? Like, what day are you thinking? And I was like, well, I don't have classes Wednesday, so today or Friday. So like, those would be easiest for me. I was like, is one of those days work best for you? He was just like, whatever works for y'all, I can try and I will make myself available and everything. And so we were like, okay. And I was like, what time? And he was just like, 1 maybe. He's like, but it's up to whatever time y'all want to do. I was like, I think 1 works. I was like, but I'll ask them, see what they got to say. And then my friend today was trying to change the plans because we were going to go out for lunch on Friday. She wanted to change it to a dinner date and go to her home theater and watch a movie after. I don't want to do that for a first date. You know, I'm not a movie person for a first date. Like, I don't like doing movies for first dates. And she wanted to switch it to that. And I didn't want to tell her no. So I was like, I'll ask A see what he says. Oh, not the fact that window is open and they can hear me yapping. That's not the point. I was like, I can ask A and everything. She's like, okay, let me know. I didn't even ask A. I kind of just didn't answer her, and she's like, what do you say? And I was like, I don't know, haven't asked him yet. I was like, but I was kind of wanting to leave it at lunch and everything because I don't like doing movies for first dates. Plus, when I have a plan set in stone, I don't like changing my plans because then it throws my day off. Excuse me. I was like, but we can definitely do the dinner and movie date some other time. Like if there's a second date or a third or fourth, whatever, that we can do it. But we haven't finished setting everything in stone yet for Friday. We gotta finish setting stuff in stone for Friday. Like where we want to go. She still doesn't know what guy she's taking. Hopefully she can figure that out. But like at first he was agreeing to go on a single one-on-one date. And then Katie was like, you should have us do a double date. And I was just like, you know what? Screw it. Why not? So we're planning a double date. I don't want to do a double date, but we're planning a double date. I don't like doing double dates. But I also haven't been on an in-person date in forever. So it's a little nerve-wracking. So now I gotta actually get ready on Friday. I can't be in my PJs all day like I planned on. I gotta get ready and go for a date with A. And then we have church Sunday. So we're gonna see how that goes. We're gonna see how our date goes, and I don't know how Sunday's gonna be after our date, cause I don't know. I'm not used to going on dates with people and then seeing them that same week. Like I'm used to the long distance stuff, so I don't know. You gotta figure that out. But yeah, that's a short, quick little update on everything. I kind of like skipped over quite a bit of the details, but I put the main points out there. Am I missing comments? I was kind of just like trying to get the story over with before I forgot. Which country are you from? Your name, okay. I'm from Texas, so I'm from the U.S. Yeah. Oh, my hair looks lovely. Hi. You know Blackpink? I actually don't. The ones that just joined, you'll miss the entire story time. But I just did a giant story time and update on me and A, so. But lucky. And then I'll have to do an update after our date on Friday. I'll have to let y'all know how that goes. Oh, not me about to drop my phone. If you're new, well, welcome. Welcome. So if you're new, that means you probably have no clue who A is. So he's this guy at church that we kind of do like subtle flirting, more of just the staring and glancing and smile and all that jazz, but not like verbal flirting. And then he teases me about a few different things off and on just for the fun of it. And so after me and my ex broke up, that's actually when all the flirting started. So it's been going on for like 3-ish, maybe 4 weeks. And I was thinking I was being Delulu, and then my friends were feeding into my Delulu-ness, and then I was talking to his best friend Friday night on the way back, and he was like, no, like, go for it. He was talking about wanting to date somebody, but, like, didn't say who, and all that extra jazz, and so I ended up asking him out last night, and so we're going out Friday. But yeah, that's basically who A is. He's a guy at church. But yeah. Who, whenever he moved here and got into our church group, I kind of liked him then, but then I was dating people, so then I just like ignored it, and now I'm not dating anybody, but we're going on a date. So, but yeah, that's who A is. Do you remember me? Hi. I gotta get my brother soon because he has an orthodontist appointment to get his retainer, and I gotta take him out of school early to go get it. But that was a 20-minute yap of me updating y'all on A. But Loki, I'm excited for Friday. I still have to finish filming videos for today to post. But yeah, that was kind of what all happened over the weekend and everything. And everything that's new with A. So, you subbed and liked. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Loki, I think I might go back into the student center. People are gonna look at me like I'm insane. Oh, actually, no, I'm supposed to meet with somebody. Not meet like a meeting, but like she said she'd be back on campus at 2, and so I can catch her up on everything. So this was a short live. I just wanted to catch y'all up on everything because I said I would. So I am gonna hop off the live though. But y'all are amazing. I will keep y'all updated on anything and everything that happens because why not? But yeah. Also, this is a new mic that I bought Monday. But yeah. Okay. Bye.